Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon where I'll be talking about the movies, obviously, their merchandising, theme parks, clothing, I don't know, whatever the case may be. If it's related to Disney in any shape or form, then yes, there's a good chance I'll be talking about it. But yes, of course, I'll be reviewing yet another movie. So let's get on with the show, shall we? So here we go. I'll be reviewing the film titled Red Tails. And okay, let me just address the elephant in the room. This is going to be talking about another movie that had a really, well, let's say, very mixed response. And that's putting it lightly. Yes, of course. Yeah, this is one of these movies that was pretty much slammed by critics and whatnot. And what I'm going to say here will go against what a good chunk of people would say. Alright. I'm not going to exactly go along with popular opinion. If anything, I'm going to actually go against it. But then again, like that ever stopped me before, so here we are, I guess. Yes, I absolutely do realize its subject matter. It could be rather, well, let's say heavy. This is going to be taking place during World War II. Yeah, that kind of a thing. So it's like a war drama kind of a thing going here. Yes, unfortunately, bigotry still exists in this day and age. Yes, talking about racism is it's a very sensitive topic to talk about. And yes, it could get people riled up. People would definitely have this kind of view on racism. Again, it's understandable. So if this kind of subject matter makes you mad, if it makes you feel uneasy, that's fine. That's nothing wrong with that. Of course, it's a very touchy subject matter. So if you want to write a story about this kind of thing, if you want to make a movie about this kind of thing, you have to go at this on a very specific kind of way, of course. But okay, with that being said, of course, let's get into it, shall we? So here we go, obviously. Anyway, like I said, this is like a war movie kind of a thing, which basically it is. A crew of African American pilots pretty much on this training program, but they have to pretty much take action. They are pretty much faced segregation, obviously, of course, while kept mostly in the on the ground during World War II. But the thing is that they want to actually fly these planes, hence the title of the film. And they do have to use this specific type of airplanes, and they do believe that this kind of airplanes could actually help them out for this fight, for this kind of thing they want to do. And yes, they do have to come up with some kind of strategy for this kind of a thing here. So this fighter group during World War II have their own units, and they are made up of the best escort pilots, and they are known as the Red Tails. Again, hence the title. And yeah, unfortunately, they clearly do face racism at home while fighting the Germans. And yeah, it has something to do with the Nazis. Now that's thrown in there. And if anything, this is supposed to be one of these action-packed dramas that is based upon a true story. And yes, obviously, they're trying to keep this movie as authentic as they could, and just make it seem like what's going on is actually truth, of course, and make it seem like okay, these are actual people, which yes, feel like this did exist, obviously. But anyway, I can definitely say that I had to give this a watch and, of course, review it. But the thing is that it's it's something that how do I put this? Oh yes, and reviewing war movies isn't really my thing. In generally speaking, it doesn't matter who the characters are. It doesn't matter where the characters came from. Reviewing war movies, generally speaking, I don't talk about war movies all that often. So I haven't talked about a war movie like in a good while. I haven't spoken about a war movie in such a good long time. I don't even remember the last time I spoke about a war movie. I don't recall really. But yeah, it's one. This is type of genre of film I don't talk about all that often, really, like at all. I do have done it. Don't get me wrong. I have done, of course, spoke about war movies before. It's just that it's not often. It's not very often, really, when it comes to these type of movies, like war drama, war kind of movies of and whatnot. It's something I don't talk about often, like at all. But I just figured I'll just do this because I just want to talk about a variety of different stuff when it comes to the Disney stuff I'll be watching. This is from Disney Plus, by the way. I've watched this on from Disney Plus, just so you know. But anyway, this obviously is meant to be one of these uplifting drama action movies, and yes, inspiring as well. And yeah, this is definitely one of those movies that's supposed to inspire you and have these characters have this historic acts done by these brave men and women, and these individuals will face many obstacles, of course. But I gotta make it seem dramatic somehow, of course. And this film was produced by LucasArts. Yes, George Lucas made that studio. And I'll just throw that in there for real quick. So yeah, George Lucas had something to do with this production. Yeah, the one guy who made Indiana Jones and Star Wars. So there you go. This film's narrative is based upon real life incidents. So yes, they're going to be drawing inspiration from this kind of group of individuals who fought in World War II. The film is supposed to be focusing on them, of course. It's a, it's it also has lots of action, of course, plenty of action to be had here, and I do say that this definitely one of these types of movies. Yes, like was saying, it's pretty fast paced, really, in some ways. I mean, I knew that this was going to be a war movie from the start. Yes, I knew this was going to be a bit of dramatic, obviously judging from the trailers alone. But I just want to see how this film is and just give my own 2 cents and just give my own idea, so to speak, of what I felt about this here. The film itself is definitely going centered around these characters. These characters have their own lives, they have their own personalities. There was even a bit of a interracial romance relationship going on here. I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to say with who or what and whatnot. I'm just leave it at that. There was a bit of an interracial romance kind of a thing thrown into the mix. Yeah, of course, as if this film wasn't dramatic enough, obviously, which also has something to do with some kind of marriage thing as well. Again, I'll just leave it at that. Excuse me if I'm being vague here. I would rarely give spoilers in my videos anyway, but I'll just leave it at that. Oh boy, it gets pretty wild in that regard. It gets pretty wild, of course. But hey, when you find the right one, that's perfectly fine, of course. The action sequences was pretty much well choreographed, I would definitely say. And the special effects does help out in this regard as well. And yes, of course, in this day and age, we've gotten used to CGI practical effects. I do miss the practical effects, though. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do miss the old-fashioned practical effects. But what I'm trying to say is that yes, obviously, a lot of movies these days are CGI heavy, and this is no exception. Obviously, it's not exception to that either. But we've seen plenty of movies with CGI, so of course it's going to be pretty hard to get impressed by this kind of thing these days. Because we pretty much see it everywhere. But for what it's worth, the CGI isn't too bad. The CGI isn't too shabby, really, when it comes to these special effects in this movie. But all in all, this was done fairly well in that regard when it comes to special effects. As for the acting, I thought the acting was really well done. And yes, this film does have A-list actors and actresses in this. And I'm just saying that you can definitely see some familiar faces when it comes to watching this movie. Oh, you can tell. You can definitely tell you can see some familiar faces and whatnot. But that's fine. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But it's definitely one of these types of movies where, yeah, it's gonna be decisive, really. You're gonna either like it or not. I personally didn't mind it really. I did like what they were trying to do with the characters, the actresses, and whatnot. They were all really well done in the sense that they knew they were acting in a good way, of course. Obviously, it's going to take some serious talent, really. The acting wasn't too bad. I did think the acting was solid enough in which they were trying to use here. I like the acting, I like the special effects, I like the overall narrative and what they were trying to do. Even if they don't show every little thing about what these characters went through, what these people went through. I know these characters are based upon an actual people, of course. And even if they don't show every little thing, every nook and cranny about the points of lives, but that's fine. You get the overall idea of what they're trying to do. Trying to make this place, this war, a better place for everyone else. That's good. They're trying to fight for what they believed in. They're trying to fight for what they held close to their hearts. Of course, they want to keep people safe, obviously, despite the obstacles that they're facing, of course. And that's definitely something you have to do, of course. You do have to take care of the people who are bad, of course. Take care of the people who are the villain in the story and in real life. Which I'm fine with when you think about it. I mean, hell, the Star Wars franchise took inspiration from real life events, which I do think is a good thing because, like I said multiple times before in previous videos, is that sometimes the best parts of fiction has inspiration from real life being thrown in there. But anyway, I'll just leave it at that. I thought this was pretty good. I'll give this film a Novaval rating of a 7.0 out of 10. It's a 7.0 out of 10 for me. So, of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh, yeah. Later.